Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. So today's video, I'm just going to do a bit of an update in regards to, well, the update for Gran Turismo 7 and kind of my hints about what may happen when this does get dropped. So I've got a ton of comments still asking when is the next update. Are Polyphony giving up with this game? And to those people I say, have you realistically been living under a rock, in all honesty? And I don't mean that in an offensive way. What I'm basically saying is there has been a ton of hype up around PSVR 2 and next GT7 update. So obviously PlayStation VR 2 releases on the 22nd of February. So I have a bit of a suspicion on how this is going to work. But before we get into that, let me give you a little bit of context as to why a lot of people are very much displeased and some maybe even confused to what's even happening to this game. So I think a lot of people are under the impression that this is a live service game. That's kind of what was said, and I still feel like that kind of rings true. But, you know, in regards to the updates and stuff, there was the whole thing around, you know, the updates aren't made to be monthly and such. And this is obviously the first time that we had a skipped month. So January 2023 was a skipped month in terms of updates. So the actual last real update we had to the game, and the last update overall, was December 14th. 2022. That is when we got basically just a bunch of cars and nothing really else to it. Since then we've not had any bug fixes or anything like that, even though Polyphony basically updated their known issues section on the 13th of January last month. And I think the main thing that really happened when they did that was, you know, they're kind of acknowledging a, you know, broken bug within the game. So I'm pretty sure this means we'll be getting an update in January, even if it was just a little bit of a bug fix update. Obviously that never happened, so, you know, myself included, I genuinely believed we were going to get one probably late January due to obviously the Christmas period and returning to work after the new year. But yeah, that never ever happened, and I think a lot of people were very much confused because it was the first time where Polyphony had actually skipped a month. However, only a few weeks prior to that there was an interview with Kaz where he stated that GT7 updates are not made to be monthly, it's just the way it happens. Obviously the confusing bit to that is the fact that every time an update drops it goes with a month. So usually you'll get like February, you know, let's say February 2023 update, you know, so and so. So it did come across like they were monthly updates. But in between all that, there was all the talk around the PSVR 2 update. We knew the game was going to get it. Obviously, it was finally revealed that the whole game would be playable in PSVR 2. And then there were kind of the previews and showcases and such where, you know, places like IGN and that got to test it, saying it was absolutely fantastic. All, you know, building up hype towards obviously PSVR 2 and Gran Turismo 7, and that's kind of the assumption I'm under. I think a lot of people may have thought maybe this week we would have got a kind of, you know, early update, so maybe we would have got the content and then the actual implementation of PSVR 2 on the Wednesday, which is the 22nd of February. Obviously it's a little bit different from the usual update day, but I think a lot of people were kind of thinking they may just do that. Now, obviously, the usual silhouettes and such have not been, you know, announced and that by Kaz, so I think at this point it's safe to assume it will definitely not be coming this week. What I think may happen, and this is where my kind of suspicions around this update will kind of come into play, I think personally we'll get the VR update, so we'll get the implementation of PSVR 2 on day one like it was promised, and then on the next Thursday we will get the implementation of a content update. I don't necessarily see them going off of the usual format. I think we'll get the silhouettes on the Sunday, we'll get the trailer and PSVR 2 implementation on the Wednesday, and then the content itself will come along on the Thursday. For me personally, that's how I could see it working. Obviously the PSVR 2 thing could essentially be implemented as a separate update or kind of a mini implementation, and then obviously the content will come with it a little, you know, little while later, that being, well, just a day. However, there is the other way they could do it. They could just essentially do the usual silhouettes on the Sunday, then you'll get the trailer maybe on the Tuesday instead, and get the everything in one on a Wednesday. I don't just see the PSVR 2 update just being that PSVR 2. I think if they did that and left players out that aren't getting PSVR 2, there's going to be a massive amount of backlash. Obviously, not everybody may have the funds to be able to afford to do it. Maybe not everybody wants to do it. You may get really bad motion sickness or something from PSVR 2 or PSVR or whatever, and it may have just put you off purchasing it. Maybe it's just not something that gels really well with you. In that case, if they then didn't add content to the game or anything like that, it would cause a whole storm, and I could see that brewing from a mile off. So in terms of have Polyphony given up with GT7, no. Obviously the whole PSVR 2 thing seems to be the main focus, at least as of recently anyway. I'd say probably for the last 2 months in terms of images and announcements and the whole game being playable in PSVR 2. Do I just think that the next update will just be purely PSVR 2 and that'll be that? In all honesty, no. I do obviously know that it's adding a bunch of features to it, obviously the showroom and all that such good stuff. But in terms of content, I genuinely don't see Polyphony taking the risk of, missing out adding content for the players that won't be getting it. Obviously, at that point, if they implemented PSVR 2 when it's already been 2.5 months and then left the other players hanging for, let's say, another month at that point, then I cannot see it going down very well when it gets to the point of nearly 3 months without a content update. So realistically, when do I see the next update coming? For me, like I said, it'll be next week. I think this will be realistic. Obviously, it will be right on time with that day one release of PSVR 2. And then obviously, I also see the content coming as well. So to answer everybody's questions, no, Polyphony has not abandoned GT7. They've not given up on it. It's still going rather quite smoothly in terms of, what they bring into the game and such. It was just a missed month. It was announced before that the updates aren't meant to be monthly. So it is looking like that's the way it was. Will I see the game going back to monthly updates? There's a possibility, or they may not be. Who knows? Personally, I think they will go back to monthly content updates. I think we'll possibly get a bigger update this time around for the kind of gap in between. Maybe we'll get new tracks, which will be, hopeful all about. I think, definitely adding a few new tracks in there, possibly a few new cars, maybe a whole change up to how the game is. I don't necessarily see this being the 2.0 release. I think that will be later on in the game's life cycle, maybe another year or so before that even happens. So yeah, I feel like personally this should be a bigger content update or a bigger update in general. So not only do we have the implementation of PSVR 2, we'll have the, a lot of other things added in. I do realistically see that happening to obviously make up for that gap. I do see them going back to monthly updates after that. Do I think those updates will be as big? Probably not. I think we'll kind of go through a stage of, how it was previously, where it was just kind of monthly content update and that's it. I don't see them doing another big update, possibly until, 2.0 release, which who knows when that could be. So that's going to be it from today's video. I just thought I'd kind of clear up kind of where the game's been at, because there just seems to be a lot of people that may not be aware of what was going on behind the scenes with PSVR 2 and such, and my overall hunch about what will happen with the next update and, well, when it will drop. So there you have it. It is just purely speculation on my part in terms of the update. Obviously, we know we're getting a day one PSVR 2 update, but in terms of the content update, I honestly don't see them waiting much more longer to obviously get the content in there. So that's going to be it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn your notifications on so you don't miss an upload from me, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace. PS, check out my Twitter, Discord and donation link in the description down below. See you later, guys.